Legionnaires of the Lariat, we are back with your Bad Blood review. With me, as always, is my tag team partner, stevezapf, and the incredibly handsome Hound. How you guys doing today?
I'm well, man.
You're handsome.
No, I'm well. Thank you very much for asking. Great to be back. All of you beautiful listeners out there, hope you're having a wonderful day.
He's got that sweet, sexy voice there, too. You hear that? Like, I think I just swooned a little bit.
It's like
if only the rest of me matched the voice.
It's like Chef from South Park, but like
Hello, children.
Hello, children.
We have an interesting card, an amazing card. I thought this was from top to bottom pretty entertaining. I think that some booking decisions kind of held this match, this whole thing back. Oh wait, you're laughing at something different. It's not what I mean. Honestly, I think with the way they started this match, it could only go down from there is kind of what I'm talking about. Starting with Hell in the Cell, and as fantastic of a match as I thought that was, really, really hard to follow that up. So that's kind of my thoughts on that one. There's other things that I have questionable on booking, but I'll save that for the matches. Man, it just makes sense. Whatever. I'll get there. Don't make me bury the lead here. What did you guys think overall? Hound, how did you think this stood up to the Bad Bloods? Your expectations, yada yada yada.
So with the new PLE structure, if we were talking historically, I would have no hope for normally one like this. Like it was a show, meh, usually a blow off to a feud, maybe start of a new one kind of thing. But for it being now one of the 5-match PLEs, I look forward to them now. They have definitely upped the game. Like it used to be where if I was to letter grade them, and let's just say on average the big four range from a B+ to somewhere in the A's, you would say B- to C+ for most of the other like in your house types. Now that these are starting to move like solid B+, almost approaching an A area, which it's a beautiful thing.
I think this one may have been the best 5-card match of the year, like of these PLEs. I think it's unfair to compare any of them that are in Europe because I feel like the fans there made all those other cards feel bigger than they really were. But at the end of the day, I think this one was even better than Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
there was. I'm looking back at our things now. It was definitely better than Backlash. So there was this one kind of tops it. This is like the top of the 5-card matches. What do you think? What do you think, Steven?
I really like this card. I'm actually going to go as high as say this is probably an A-. I definitely give this an A, but an A-. I think there were a couple of missteps here on some of the stuff, but honestly, all of my missteps are mostly in one match, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I love, though, that they did so much stuff post-card with this, like after the show ended, and they did it in a way where to get the fans involved, they didn't tape and they didn't record any of it. So, like, the stuff with Rock, he did that on his own social media. And obviously he was walking around with a camera because The Rock doesn't go anywhere without a camera.
Fair enough.
But the stuff with Cody and Kevin Owens, that was all fan footage. And they let the fans get that out to the world, which is a really, really risky idea that paid off huge in this case.
So if I can add something to that, I can't remember precisely where I heard this, and this is where, and it's me agreeing with where I heard this, so I apologize to who I'm not giving proper credit to. How many times have we seen a heel turn where the crowd relentlessly cheers the heel who's turning? You can protect those involved by doing it this way and not have the crowd reaction be where the babyface is getting buried behind a deluge of cheers for the person you're supposed to be booing in that instance. So it's something that has to be executed really, really well and really carefully. But I think they did it well with this.
Yeah, overall, honestly the worst thing is this silly belt that Triple H revealed, the crown jewel.
I want a replica.
It's so big.
It would look like a normal belt on Hound, though.
Yeah, it would just be normal.
Well,
maybe like a child size one. Just it is. I like the color scheme. I like what he's going for here, but this thing was it was special.
Gaudy.
So let's kind of jump in because let's start with we'll save the best for first. In my opinion, I think this clearly should have been the main event. Hell in the Cell should main event this. They did such an incredible job around building up Hell in the Cell in a way that it felt like the reason why we had Hell in the Cell in the first place. So CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. I will say this one, we all had Punk winning this against what I wanted, and this isn't what I was complaining about. I just kind of saw this coming. You had CM Punk, who's coming back to WWE. He needs that big win. You need to set him up against Rollins, in my opinion, for later on. But this match was a masterclass in how to do Hell in a Cell. Like the wrench spots to the openings was a very old school callback for me here. So all in all, I really liked it. I think this is one of the top contenders for match of the year for me, in all honesty, because I really, really like this one. Steven, what do you think about this match?
This is one of those matches where, again, a lot of the stuff with CM Punk and McIntyre, this is the point where like ultra violence was done right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really happy that we got this the way it was. Again, this was supposed to be a blood feud. This was supposed to be violent. This was like, I do feel bad for Mr. McIntyre for having to get 16 staples in the top of his head after this match.
Was that the outcome?
Yeah, so apparently the toolbox that he hit his head on, they couldn't gimmick it. And so that's a thing. Again, I like everything that he did in this match. I knew I was going to like everything they did. Mm-hmm. I love the ending. I know you wanted Punk to lose this, but Punk hitting the go to sleep with the chain wrapped around his leg,
agreed,
was that was a little bit of a stroke of genius on that one. Like, that was a nice finish to what it was, a nice way to make his already deadly finisher more deadly in this match that they're killing each other in.
I agree, but I do not envy that bump that McIntyre took at the end when he went for the Claymore and he hit his lower back on the ring steps.
On the steps.
I don't know how that
no.
They were looking to accidentally hit something that whole match. I don't know how they didn't hit those ring steps like 6 or 7 times. Hound, what was your initial opinion of this one?
Far and away the best match of the night, and I think you worded it right. This was a masterclass on how to Hell in a Cell. You can argue that best Hell in a Cell match of all time. I apologize. My cat sees something out the back door and is currently kicking the crap out of my blinds. Please stop, honey. I love you. She's laying here just beating up my chair and the back door. I love it. Damn it, avocado. The match itself was fantastic, and the bag of thumbtacks that was the friendship beads, I loved every second. And look, as silly as it was, I loved it because I had mentioned before Drew ruined the entire storyline for me when he broke the friendship bracelet. Okay, cat, please.
I'm so over that silly ass bracelet.
But putting it in his mouth and, like basically kind of eating your words about everything with the go to sleep, it was kind of symbolic with that. So as much as it was silly, like not like gummy bears, silly kind of thing, but it's silly to tell a story in the right way. And I'm pretty convinced if you step barefoot on one, it's probably uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, I've stepped on Legos before. It's not much different.
Yeah.
The stalling backdrop suplex, whatever you want to call that, that McIntyre does to CM Punk through the table on the outside, was an epic spot in this one that I really thought like went well, and Punk was down for days. It felt like after that one, like he was like, ding, fries were done in that situation.
I kind of think the whole them giving Punk oxygen afterwards, that wasn't a work. Like Punk really needed that oxygen.
I can't tell, but his goal this whole time was to make this match like be what like he said it really well, right? He said, I don't want a steel cage that needs a match. I need a match that needs a steel cage, and like really bring that blood feud to a fever pitch. And I think they delivered on this one. And then him coming out at the end there, work or not, needing oxygen, really shows that they kind of put it all out there for this match. And this one, honestly, I have a list of my top matches I plan at the end of the year for us to go through our top 10. This one's going to be a contender for number one, I think, because I really enjoyed this. Not the most technically savvy one, which is something that I typically like more than anything else, but this was a masterclass and had to do a hell of a sell.
I agree, and it had the pace that you like. I feel like too.
It was fast. I love a good fast match, and like, I think during this match, I think I realized I think the Claymore might be my favorite finisher right this second, which is odd for me because I like more technical moves. But man, that kick looks so good, and it just comes out of nowhere.
It is a good one.
That's something that I like. That's always been my favorite thing about a finisher. It's like go back to one of the most iconic ones with Hogan dropping the leg. Well, I mean, there's a billion setup to that. He's got to hulk up, he get hit with 3 punches, say a U, hit him with 4 punches, big leg drop. Like it's coming for 2 minutes before it gets there. Where like the RKO, the Claymore, before the RKO was the RKO, the Diamond Cutter, bang out of nowhere. Those are fantastic. And I've been saying it on other things we've done. We need to come up with a guy who bang out of nowhere submission finishes. I think it's a great gimmick, and somebody needs to do something with that.
I feel like the last out of nowhere was the crossface, because like that he just catches your arm and you go down.
And he would do it from all types of different positions.
Like, no matter where you were, I can't think of a good finisher that like a submission that comes out of nowhere. Maybe the mandible claw. That was another good one.
And this is where I think it's almost more like a character type thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be one. It's the fact that this person is so deadly at submissions, whether you get your arm, your knee, your ankle, your head, whatever it is, boom, and out. I would love to see something like that.
Even though it was kind of their only submission move, realistically, you know who hit a good submission kind of out of nowhere from time to time, at least? That was Brett with the sharpshooter. He would pull the sharpshooter out of thin air sometimes.
He does, but I feel like that move has too much setup to it in its own right to feel fast. Like you have to cross the legs and turn them over. Like it doesn't take, even when I used to, I know I'm not putting myself in any of these things, but I used to do the elevated cloverleaf where I didn't actually turn you. I just lifted you. So you just found yourself on your face being like, how did I get in here? Even that one feels like, because you have to do so much to get it to where it was. It never feels fast and out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I get, yes, but you're 100% right. He's dead and out, and then all of a sudden you're on your back getting crossed. They're like, oh no, how did I get here?
I always go with the Mr. Perfect ending, where Perfect goes with the leg drop in between the legs, and he locks him while he's still on his back and rolls him over. And he did that. He did stuff like that a couple times, so it was always cool. But I do like that McIntyre hits that Claymore out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere, and he sets it up sometimes, which I think goes a long way with it coming out of nowhere, because he does have that. I'm going to sit in the corner and do the 3-2-1, but then all of a sudden it's just there. It's like, no countdown for this one. So all in all, I think we all unanimously agree this is the match of the night. I feel terrible for Nia and Bayley to have to follow this. They really had no chance. I feel like they got sabotaged. This is Bayley's MO of just getting buried left and right, in my opinion. But the like being left off of WrestleMania
Yeah.
posters. I don't mean buried as in like she gets squashed. I mean like, oh, who do we put to follow this? It's Bailey. No one cares. Just throw
It's
her in.
okay.
It's fine. It's just Bailey.
Let's throw Pam out there like Tiffany called her. Use your real name.
So we had Nia and Bailey for the WWE Women's title. Again, we all chose Nia for this because it was pretty obvious. I thought. I don't think it was ready for her to lose this belt. I think I went first last time. So how about Steven? What did you think of this match?
This is my least favorite match on the card. And
It was set up to be that.
And it was definitely set up to be that, but also Hound and I were kind of texting each other during the match while it was happening. And we had the same thought process on this. It just felt like Nia, unfortunately, was 2 steps behind the whole time. And like a lot of it, like I say this a lot of times when we're talking about matches, it felt sloppy and not in a good way. There are some times where things break down into fights and they get sloppy, and it's kind of good that it is because it gives you that suspension of disbelief. This was one of those times where they weren't playing with the hand that they were dealt. They were trying to go a little outside the box with some of their stuff, and I'm cool with you trying to do different stuff, but they went like way, way, way far outside of the lane that they should have been in. I feel like Nia with the Hurricane Rana, where like it just everything about it was a little off. Now here's the one thing I will say: the ref spot was really cool. I'll give them their flowers for that, and I'll give the ref her flowers for that, because Jessica Carr, I believe her name is like 150 pounds, and Nia is legit like they listed at like 270. That's a bit to have that girl fall on you.
That's heavier than I am.
It's heavier than I am right now.
I'm 6'3".
Fine, I'll be the odd one out. That's not heavier then.
Yeah, it's because you're 12 feet tall, man. That's not.
Yeah, if Nia was your height, she'd be heavier than you.
This is true.
I loved the Tiffy time spot at the end of this match too. Her cashing in, but not really going to cash it in. They're going to tease this until she actually cashes it in on Nia. I'm convinced. This is going to be every one of Nia's matches until Tiffany cashes it in on her, and then it's heel versus heel, or Nia supposed to be the face, which I just don't understand how that works, but we'll figure out how that works.
I think that this turns. I don't think Tiffy's ever going to be a face, but the more this goes, I think the more they're trying to kind of sell this as Tiffany is at least the more sympathetic of them.
Well, she's over. We learned in Elimination Chamber that people will cheer her.
That's the thing, is one, she's over. People do love her. They like her matches on top of it, and her character is definitely over. Her character in general is definitely over. But like the more they're doing it, the more they're showing like the distrust from Nia is turning into like an anger from Nia, where like Tiffy is gonna have to be the one that takes the sympathy in this case. So as much as it might be a heel thing, I don't think it's gonna be a heel thing. I think
the
it
way
might
that
turn
works
into like it at the very least a retaliation thing.
The way that works is that Nia actually turns on Tiffany for being jealous or whatever it is, and strikes first. Otherwise, and I don't know how you work, and you know, it's Bizarro land out here when CM Punk's the face, but I don't see how Tiffany cashing in on Nia unprovoked, even if they're getting into little spats, makes her the face. It makes her the sympathetic. There needs to be shots fired on the other side first.
I agree with that.
And I guess we'll move on because it's exactly what it was meant to be here. It was fine. It's a fine match.
I have one thought to add to that. So, first off, it was the right match to follow Hell in a Cell because, I mean, if you're gonna have one be kind of forgetful, you kind of want it to be that. The other thing, and I mentioned this to Steven, and I kind of want to put this out there for you, Michael, and for the listeners.
Oh, no.
So that was not just Nia being 2 steps like too slow and everything. That was 2 steps back. So this was closer to the Nia of old, where we're like, oh crap, she's gonna hurt somebody. Thankfully, it looks like she's gotten much, much safer. But that was so. Okay, don't ever do a hurricanrana again. But that was so. I don't want to say bad, because the spots that were supposed to happened. But I almost wonder if that was so poorly received that we're not seeing Tiffany cash in way sooner than expected to have her have the title going into Crown Jewel.
It might. I think it's a good thought. I feel like they went the opposite direction here, because I always complain that Nia is not as strong as she pretends to be. I get that with Willow every so often too, because they both try to do these spots where then they struggle to muscle somebody up. It's like, if you just didn't do that, somebody this big shouldn't be doing hurricanrana. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, you do the moves that you're built for. I get it. Like, do a cool surprise spot here and there. That one just takes too much agility to pull that off realistically, and it just doesn't work. I know it was a reversal. I know that there was tons of things that you can say behind it, but it's suspect.
I know we've touched on it, that I think Nia has had like a bad car accident in her life at some point or another, and like that's kind of where a lot of her, unfortunately, her weight gain came about. Like, she was always a bigger girl, but like that does it. But for a move like a hurricanrana or something like that, you need flexibility, and if you don't have it in your back, which it seems like that's what's missing from her, you can't do that move.
Says you.
I get it. You want to push the envelope. You want to do something unexpected. I love the moxie, but at the end of the day, you have to do what's believable. Was it the Big Show that came off the top rope or something like that, and the Undertaker yelled at him?
Yes.
Or it's just, where's the Undertaker yelling at Nia right now? So okay, we're gonna move on to the first miss of the card, which was on the WWE, not on me, because we had Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. You guys both had Priest. I knew Priest was going to go over here. I just stood by my convictions enough to say it was going to be Finn, because Finn deserved to win this match. I don't like how they're burying him. I don't like how they're burying the entire Judgment Day. They've taken all the teeth out of this group, and this group could be fun. Like, with Carlito in it now, they're the tag team champions. Finn getting like extra vicious, and Liv being a part of it. This could be a fun Generation 3 of this group. And I think that they just ruined it by having Priest beat Finn here and just make them all a bunch of wet blankets. Thoughts?
So the dynamic was off with this, because generally the face should be the smaller guy, having to climb the mountain, if you will, in that scenario where the face is trying to fire up and gets cut off with a big punch that knocks him down, or does this or does that. And you kind of had to role reverse that. So the only way that they could have done that, and I think they missed on this, is you would have had to have Damian Priest overcome, like, Finn demolished his knee beginning of the match and worked it over for, match was what, like 11, 12 minutes? Okay, so 8 of those 12 minutes were spent with you being like, holy crap, like, this is brutal.
Yeah, that nice coup de grace right on the knee. I'll take that.
That right there, and then having the babyface win despite that. Like, he hits him with the South of Heaven, but while he's doing it, he's on like one leg, so he still plants Finn safely, but it doesn't look right, and he struggles to get to the cover. That accomplishes it, and it doesn't make Finn look weak. Damian's style is so striking heavy, and he is such a big dude. And he needed to be the heel in that scenario for that match type to work. That's really all it was. The match was fine. Just the heel and the face were in the wrong people, if you will.
Now I hope you guys are just in for Judgment Day versus LWO. Because that's what forever. That's all I can see them doing with this group at this point in time.
To go along with what Hound said too, if they had, because they didn't have anyone hot shot their starts on this pay-per-view at all. Like everyone went through their whole entrances and stuff like that. While Priest was coming out for his entrance, Finn came up behind and slammed a chair into the back of Priest's knee. That would have given you what Hound was talking about. And then while he's like crawling to what you were saying, the coup de grace on the knee, while he was trying to crawl to the ring after taking a chair to the back of it, he goes up onto the steps and hits like a coup de grace on the knee there. Like now you've got Priest fighting uphill. Like you said, it was a fine match. It was good. It had potential to be the match of the night, and it was a good match. It just wasn't a great match.
Dismantle the Judgment Day. Take the titles off of Finn and JD. This group is done. There's no coming back from it. And like, I'm just annoyed because I really like the potential this group had. There's not a tremendous amount of groups in WWE right now, and I've always liked the stables. And these guys, I think, could have been very entertaining for the near future. They just have no teeth. Like, Finn Balor is a former champion. You could have figured out ways outside of dirty tactics like you guys are talking right now to put him over on
He's a Grand
Priest,
Slam champion too.
Who had one of the worst world title reigns when he didn't beat anybody. It just doesn't make. This is why I'm not wrong. They are, because I'm always right. Because I just don't know what you do unless you're looking to get rid of it all. I don't get it.
Go ahead.
Well, you definitely didn't need any kind of shenanigans to have, like, cheap shot, this, that, and the other thing. The idea of a hot shot, like, you could have even started it because Finn came out first, if I'm remembering correctly. So as Damian is climbing up to get in, that's where you start. Like, baseball slide, take out the leg a little bit there and beats him up on the outside a little bit. Just something to make it seem like Priest had to fight uphill. The heel is not supposed to be fighting uphill.
Don't get me wrong. You guys, everything you're saying makes a logical sense. And I'm not critiquing what you guys are saying, even with the hot shot, dirty tactics or not. Like, all of that is good storyline and is entertaining. I'm just like, they just killed the Judgment Day on this match. I don't know how they come back.
So I'm only going to play devil's advocate on this one because
Please convince me. I want to be convinced.
So you are not. So you came into wrestling. You came back to wrestling when the Judgment Day was hot already.
Sure.
You missed Edge being gone originally, and them having 4 or 5 months where the Priest, Rhea, Finn Judgment Day was losing all the time. Yeah. And then they kind of turned it around. So my only thought on this is, in Triple H's mind, they're thinking they can hit lightning twice in this on this.
Yeah, so Dominic Mysterio beats Gunther. All right, I'm back. I'm in.
I love it.
Thank you, Steven. You did it.
Love it.
How did we get to that?
You said it. Well, how did they bring that back? They gave Senor Money in the Bank, who ended up winning it while they were tag team champions. This is brilliant. What great booking. What was I thinking?
Oh, good Lord. I love it. I love it so much.
Oh, can we please go on to Rhea Ripley so I can, unfortunately, tear apart that match a bit?
Wait, I want to take a quick intermission, if you don't mind, about the big announcement and that gaudy gold and green belt for this. What do you guys think? I guess two questions. One, what do you think about this concept of champion versus champion wins champion, but neither of their championships are on the line? And what did you think about the Gunther shoot on Goldberg?
Okay. So first of all, that championship belt is the most understated title of all time.
I mean, it's classy.
It's very subtle. What did they say? 50 carats?
You can't see it from Mars. It's
You
enormous.
No,
you
you're
can
right.
see
You can
that
see it
thing
from
on-
Pluto.
You guys can see that thing on John Cena.
You can see the thing on John Cena. John Cena's going to win that title.
Sure is.
So I like the I like the idea of it, but it's more. I don't want to see people walking to the ring with that thing. It should just more kind of it goes with that show for the year.
Yeah, you'll see it on the next Raw or SmackDown, whoever wins it, and then it should be put away in its velvet bag in a safe, dropped in the safe
in Triple H's office. But it's a giant wall. It's a giant bank safe because that's the only thing that'll fit in.
You know that Paul's walking around with that thing around his waist.
I hate the fact that I want a replica of it. I hate the fact that I was like, that's terrible. I need it.
Here's the thing. That might be the last remaining thing from the McMahon era, because I'm sure he commissioned that before he left. He was like, it'll be great. This giant belt, pal.
Oh, it's
and they're like, you just want to wear the belt, don't you? No. Where's my belt?
Where's my belt?
And to finish the way you would, the secondary question of that, I love when Gunther trolls people. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't like, the only reason I don't like that it was Goldberg is because there is and I remember in our group chat, and I was like, no, it won't happen. And then you both said something, and I was like, holy crap. No, it's like 70-30. And 70 it won't, 30 it will. And those are odds I don't like. There's a real chance that Goldberg is going to be wrestling Gunther in Saudi Arabia. And
Goldberg has a good record in Saudi, bro.
Yeah.
He won't be Gunther in Saudi Arabia.
No, he won't, but he has a good record out there.
There's a secondary storyline to that, in that Sami Zayn is Muslim, I believe he's Syrian, and he, for the first few years of the Saudi shows, was not allowed to go because of political relations between, I think it's Syria, forgive me if I'm wrong, but his country of origin and Saudi. And now that he can be there, you do have something where him as the champion going in has some cultural significance, and ultimately him losing to Cody in that scenario. I don't want that to be the case. I kind of want it to be Cody and Gunther, and I think the smart move is to have Gunther win that, because you've spent so long essentially saying that title that Gunther holds is number 2. You've been, that's the consolation prize. The fact that Gunther holds it changes that discussion. And then if you have Gunther's one of 4 people I can see legitimately beating Cody, and it makes sense. And then Gunther walking out for it be more than a week, him walking out for a good month with that giant belt, just telling everybody how they're street trash, and he's not.
And his crown on.
Oh, oh my God, it needs to happen. I need that in my life.
The Hound, you are correct. Sami Zayn, though born in Quebec, is of Syrian descent. So fact checked, I think, as long as it's on the internet, so it must be true.
Must be true.
So I could see, this is so Steve asked this question earlier, if you think that Goldberg is going to help Sammy win against Gunther. And the answer, the reason I said yes, and it's believable, is because you can have Sammy go into Saudi Arabia Cody and lose, and like no one bats an eye. Whereas if Cody loses to Gunther or vice versa, one of those two guys takes a little step down as the secondary title holder. Even if it is Cody, who's been built up so much and he's beaten Roman and all that stuff, I feel like the women's title isn't as important. Though I guess Liv versus Nia as of right now. I'm not super excited about that match.
No.
Now that I set it into existence.
Now that you said it out loud.
I hate to say this because I said 70-30, and then you saying it the way you just said it, it just went like 60-40, but the way I don't want it to go.
Yeah,
So, where it's like, oh crap, it actually makes more sense to do it that way right now.
And
I can get there without putting the I can get there without putting the title on Dominic Mysterio. So like it's close.
Dominic needs that title.
Dominic needs that giant belt. It's bigger than he is.
It's so good.
So here's the other thing where I'm agreeing with Mr. Showtime down there.
Because I'm always right.
I know I said that like that belt is the last remnant of the Vince era. I'm gonna say what it really is. That seems like a Cody commission title. Cody wants that belt. Cody with his mask and his robe, and he'd wear both those belts, and he'd wear that belt until next Crown Jewel.
Oh yeah,
he would. The only way it would be better for him is if it was like the IWGP title and shaped like his neck tattoo.
Is it just me?
Such a dick.
Is it just me, or does that title look like it says Triple H in the background?
It might.
If you look at the title
in the jewels, it says Triple H.
In the gold, it looks like it's 3 H's. I'm making that at least 2 of them. Maybe the one in the middle is not quite there.
It's your poor eyesight. It's actually an AN for American Nightmare.
It could be that, but it looks an awful lot like Triple H. So, want to give us
So what you're saying is Triple H is having one more match, and he's actually going to win that title?
Well, my favorite part's going to be when Tiffany Stratton cashes in for this belt. This belt matches her and is twice her size.
And it's like 4 times her size.
Good thing it's a cover up in Saudi Arabia because it's going to cover everything.
Yeah. The strap's going to be the strap's going to be pink, and they're going to turn it into pink diamonds.
I mean, the green works for her. She's always wearing the green and gold. All right, so we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Now that we have
I just thought that was worth
dismantled that title.
I mean, come on, guys. Like, let's be real.
I need it.
Come on.
He's going to have that over one shoulder and the IWGP US title over the other.
It's like
the two hugest title belts ever.
Let's go to the next match here. I know, Steve. I'm gonna let you go last here because I know you have some choice words for this one. So I'm gonna kick it over to Hound first. We have Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, with Dom suspended and chained to a shark cage and suspended from the ground up. But yeah, what's up? Hound, what did you get from this match?
Okay, so I will start with the things that I thought were done well, and that's Rhea and Liv. I thought that they performed well together. I think that the two of them have excellent chemistry together, and the stuff they did worked well. This is where I have to be this guy and say the only reason Steve and I have an incorrect pick here, and it's been confirmed, is because Raquel Rodriguez messed up and came out too early. Nope. I know a win is a win.
I have to disagree. Here's why I disagree, sir. Because the wrestling gods smile upon Michael Wright. They were not going to let me take a loss when I clearly should have won the last match. So they made sure they protected me and my legacy here for this. And I thank them. I thank them in many ways.
But irregardless, so we have a 3-way tie. But the match itself, we talk about just the stuff between the ropes and the little bit of like schmozzy stuff outside the ropes with fine. It did its job. Dom wasn't chained in the SAR cage to start. So somehow he fell out after chaining himself up in there.
And
like
then he was beat like a pinata, right? That's what that was?
Yes. So after he chained himself up, we found out that, Dom like kind of lives up to his name. He likes to be dominated. He chained himself up to get beaten. And listen, man, it's 2024. You do your thing, sir. But
you changed.
Yeah, the whole
next world champion.
God, I hope so.
Crown jewel world champion.
I hope he breaks Roman's record. And the whole time we're like, how is this happening? Like, so I would love it. But
it's because he has gamma ray heat, bro.
The end was so ungood. Raquel Rodriguez came out and looked lost and confused. And unless is it Raquel Gonzalez now? Did they change her name? Did I hear that? I thought I heard that somewhere.
Raquel Gonzalez, yeah. It was Raquel Rodriguez in NXT, and now it's Raquel Gonzalez, I believe. Or vice versa.
I don't know.
It's Raquel.
Yeah, so, and apparently she is now going to be a full-fledged member of the Judgment Day.
Cool. Do you mean the dismantled Judgment Day? Because they're not putting the title on Dom?
No, they're going to end up taking the women's titles off of Nia.
Bianca
and Jade. And, because that'll really drum up interest in the Judgment Day. But I mean, it was the match was okay. If we were going like the whole letter grade thing, C+, B-.
Go
ahead, Steven.
So I guess I'll start with
before you go for a downer. I love Rhea's Northern Lights suplex.
I love everything.
It looks so good.
I love almost everything Rhea does, but we mentioned that we love her Northern Lights suplex as far back as WrestleMania.
I gotta call it every time because it looks so good. Liv took it really well.
So Dom goes in the cage. Cage goes in the water. Shark's in the water. Our shark. No?
We need a bigger boat.
We definitely need a bigger boat. All right. Stuff in ring. Liv and Rhea. They do have great chemistry. I love everything that Liv and Rhea do together. I like their storyline together. I like that stuff. I like Dom being suspended in the shark cage. This is where I'm going to get a little bit on my high horse with it. Outside of him being suspended in the shark cage, this was a regular match. It wasn't a no DQ. It wasn't a no count out. Rhea going out to beat Dom like a piñata and telling the ref to just like, she didn't come back in and break the count. She just looked at the ref and said, hold on, and then went out and beat up Dom. She kind of should have been counted out.
Well, so wait, Steven, I usually let you go on your rants here.
It's not a full rant.
Dom is so over right now that it is believable that everyone wants to see him hit with a kendo stick. Where the referee is going to be like, go ahead.
Just go beat him.
I get it. He actually went in and broke the count. Or she, who, it was a he, right? It was he. Like he broke the count for her. Continue.
The other side of this is the Raquel Rodriguez stuff. She showed up to no pop whatsoever. That crowd saw her and sat on their hands. And whether she came out early or late or whatever it was, it did not get the reaction that they were hoping for.
Was she big enough to expect a pop for that? Like, I know I've come to this game this year. I've come back into this, and I know that she's had some good
she
heat
had
in
health
her
stuff
own right.
and things like that.
Yeah, but like she was a face last time we saw her.
But she was a face with Liv against Rhea, who was a heel.
Okay. And then so all of a sudden we're just supposed to expect that they just flip?
Yeah.
It's confusing.
I mean, at least she's a loyal friend.
She's a loyal friend. I think that's where the plan goes more, is that she's a loyal friend. I'm waiting to find out Dom leaves. You're going to find out Dom is cheating on Liv with Raquel. He likes a bigger, dominant woman.
They're going to have a throuple.
Oh, God. I threw up in my mouth a little.
It's all right. This is how we're saving the Judgment Day.
Only one way. He beats Gunther clean. No outside interference. No nothing.
Stolen win too. Small package.
619. It's the small package. Sure, you got to get a 619 in there.
Oh my God! If he steals the Saudi title, and there's like a 6-month storyline revolving around him, just constantly getting away with that. I would.
It's the only way you do it. Only way.
And you want to know who he has his biggest feud of ever with? R-Truth.
Nah, it's too far. It's too far. That Miz needs to pay for what he did.
That's the overbooking.
It's too far. Miz has to pay.
R-Truth can't feud with both of them. He has to pick Tom or Nick.
It wasn't me. It was Tom. Oh, man.
So, yeah. I mean, I still stand by this. Overall, this card was good, and I think this card was the best 5-card match. But I feel like we probably talk more positively about the last 3 matches if it didn't follow the Hell in the Cell match. I just have to go back to that for a moment, because I think we're being a little bit harder on these cards. I would have done this card very differently. And I get why the main event was the main event, because the boss was in it. But exactly. So I'll move us on to the final match, which we all got correct. So we all tied with 4 apiece. Steve, you're still 12 matches behind me. Jeez. Hound, you and me are tied. Good job. Good looks.
I need to take some of this stuff.
Does that mean Steve is symbolically 12 behind me as well?
Yes.
Suck it, Steve.
He's technically only 1 behind you, but I'll give it to you.
I need to come out big on Wrestle Dream.
Wrestle Dream. So we had Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus Solo and Jacob Fatu. Steven, what were your thoughts here?
I mean, it was only like 35 minutes of entrances.
I mean, it was short. I was sitting there wanting more.
Listen, Showtime, you called me and you asked me how the show was going. And I said, I drove to the grocery store, picked up my order, and drove home in between the end of Liv and Rhea and the actual start of the match of Cody and Roman. So I was able to do that. That was at least 20 minutes. The match itself was good. I think they managed to convey what they wanted to with this. I think they showed a lot of Cody and Roman, even though they're working together, don't fully trust each other. Roman is kind of a stoic guy throughout all of this anyway. So even when you get the return of Jimmy, he's not jumping up and down about it. He just gives him the hug, and I like that.
Oos.
I'm still questioning. Obviously, this is going to Bloodline versus Bloodline, but the question is still whether or not it's going to be Roman, the Usos, and Sammy, or is it going to be Roman, the Usos, and another family member that might not be a proven commodity.
Zilla Fatu.
There is confirmation that Zilla is signed with the WWE. Whether it should have been confirmed or not, Mark Henry flat out said it on Busted Open. So and he has been working with WWE, so good for us if he wasn't supposed to say it, and cool if he was allowed to say it, then good for him either way. But it looks like, because they still have Hikuleo and they still have Zilla, and the question is just going to be if I wouldn't bring in both of them at this point, just because they're unfortunately unproven commodities. I would bring in, if you're going to do one, I would say stick it to one. The only way you bring in both is if you decide you're going to eliminate, what's his name? Fala Ikalava. Good old Tongaloa there, who couldn't even climb up a ladder properly the other night. But I don't know where we go. I don't know how we finish off with this. Like, I don't know the team that finishes off. But all around, I thought the match was good. I thought it got the feelings you wanted out. You got The Rock out there, which is, it's always going to be a big moment when The Rock comes out. I want to know what the three, who he's cutting the throat of. The promo he cuts afterwards is great. Talking to the pictures on the truck. Love you, American Dream. Hard time. Hate your kid. Go eat some Fruity Pebbles. Stone Cold, my boy. We're gonna buy the tequila and the beer on The Rock. But like I said, I just don't know where we go with it.
Interesting. All right, so that'll lead over to me. And so the match itself, the one thing I was really afraid of having happen in this is that it was going to kind of take the mystique off of Jacob Fatu. And the way that they took him out in the end for him to not be a part of the finish made sense, because it showed, oh my God, I basically have to hit this guy with a Sherman tank to keep him down. Which, good. I was really worried about, because, I mean, my God, we have a one of one in him. He's, like Corey Graves says it best, blessed by the gods, with every physical attribute you could ever want. The match itself was fine. I thought Solo did a fantastic job, actually. I was actually pleasantly surprised with him. Roman looked in better shape than Mania. Roman got,
he was real trim.
Anybody who's complaining about not being able to do something, and this is me holding a mirror up to myself too, if a guy with leukemia can do all that, none of us have an excuse. And Cody did Cody things. I was happy to see Jimmy Uso back. I had a feeling there was going to be some kind of something. And I had mentioned to Steven before the thing. I said, "Is this a Jimmy Uso back night?" And it was a thought of, is it Jimmy or is it Hikuleo? Which I think he's going to be called Tala Tonga when he comes in. I believe that name was trademarked. Now the confirmation of Zilla Fatu. So there's two ways to go with this. Zilla and Jacob are very close and have teamed together on the Indies, and I think maybe even in Mexico as well, in MLW.
They're not allowed to leave the country.
So you could bring Zilla in as kind of a foil to Jacob Fatu, because, like, one scary guy, other scary guy, kind of makes sense. Face tattoos, crazy grills, go for it. And I heard the rumor a while back that when that did come about, that Zilla was going to be Team Roman. So the interesting thing here, though, is The Rock. So if we're heading towards Bloodline, I think it's pretty evident. He said when he's coming back for Cody Rhodes. So I think he's there. And I think the 1, 2, 3 cutting the throat was directed at the three guys in the ring simultaneously. This is like, one of you, two of you, three of you. kind of deal like that. And I think, like we'd said a long time ago, we're going to find out that Solo was never tribal chief, and he was acting as intermediary or intercessor for The Rock the whole time.
I could see The Rock being the special guest referee for Bloodline versus Bloodline, where they keep this in the shadows of whose side is he really on. He acknowledged Roman, and then exactly what you just said, Hound, where it's more that Solo was never really the tribal chief. He's just been The Rock's enforcer this whole time.
That is a great visual. Now that you put it that way, thinking about it at a pay-per-view, it going off air, because it would make sense for Team Solo to win in the initial Bloodline v Bloodline, and to have Solo put the Ulafala on The Rock. Oh my gosh, The Rock's going to take the title off Cody. It's actually going to happen.
After he wins the Royal Rumble.
At number 31.
At number 31?
He might take it before Mania. We might have Roman Rock at this Mania.
So there's a big rumor that it might be Roman Rock Cody at Mania. And that hides, it also hides the fact that I know The Rock is in the shape that he is in great shape, but it hides The Rock being 50, not having really wrestled a real match in 7 years. Like, even last year at Mania, he didn't really wrestle. He hit his spots and he stood on the outside of the ring for the most part. So you kind of have to cover some of that up. At the end of the day, you can't have the biggest star in the world and one of your board of directors get injured.
Friggin' Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
Boo. I don't want to see a three-way with those guys.
I don't want that at all, and I hate the fact that, because I'd thought that, and I did not want to create such an utterance into the universe as to potentially give it life.
Too many people have said it. We can't.
Well, too many people are stupid.
But they listen to our show, Steven, and you just put that out there. I blame you.
That's fair. All right, so you want to know, so you can blame me for Hound. You said how great the call was that Corey Graves made. Corey Graves is the anti-Tony Schiavone. Yeah.
Why would I blame you for that? I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Corey Graves, awesome. Tony Schiavone, the worst.
Yeah, listen, I mean, Corey Graves is fantastic. Pat McAfee's my favorite.
I do like Pat McAfee, too.
That's because you want to be Pat McAfee. We all want to be Pat McAfee.
Dude, he was talking about Braun Strowman, and he's sitting there with Michael Cole, and it's the best watching the two of them break character. He's like, I don't know what to say. He's a brick shithouse. And then he looks at Michael Cole and he goes, and that's what you say at 9:22 Eastern on a Monday. It's just I want to be Pat McAfee when I grow up, and I think I'm older than him.
That's fair. Who would have thought that? Go on.
There is one more thing we got to talk about before we leave Bad Blood. As we kind of went through all the matches, is kind of all the things that weren't on Bad Blood and kind of followed it up. Steven, you want to talk a little bit about Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes aftermath?
So they've got they have a bunch of fan footage, which I love the fact that I said this before. I love the fact that they did this with fan footage instead. But it kind of just looks like they're having an argument, and Owens gets frustrated about it, and Cody just not owning up to anything. So again, is Owens the heel? Or is he just fed up with Cody kind of not really trusting him and Randy at this point? This seems a little bit more reminiscent of Punk and McIntyre in this. Like, hey, like, we've been telling you, we'll help you take these guys out, and you went and sided with the enemy.
We've said it before on the show. Roman's a bad man. I don't care that people want to cheer for him now. He really hasn't done anything except for go away to deserve to be cheered. So I side fully with with him here with Kevin Owens. If that's the case, I know that they talked about how this is going to be handled behind the scenes. No, it's not. They needed to find someone. I think Hound. I think you said this during the prediction show. Is that you need to get Rhodes away from the bloodline? Is that those are your words, right?
Yep.
And I agree. I think you do need that. But the way you do that here is kind of give him somebody that's worth fighting. But again, like we're gonna go back to Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes for Cody to beat him again. The same thing they did with AJ.
And that's the thing. This is the exact same thing they do. This is the exact same thing they do with AJ.
Exact same thing.
They went in there with mutual respect, and now they're going in there with Kevin Owens as the heel.
With a bloodline match in the middle.
And then they have a bloodline match in the middle last time too. It was him.
Yeah,
then
it was Solo.
Yeah, they had him in Solo, and then it went back to him and AJ.
Mm-hmm.
So the interesting thing and I am frustrated with the idea of that as well. I was kind of hoping Cody wouldn't hold the title for a full year. I didn't think he needed that, but it looks like we're heading that direction. I'm interested to see if they somehow spin this into, and you may very well end up with a triple threat here with Orton, Owens, Rhodes. Here somehow through all of this, we may end up with one of these PLEs talking about that as a main event, because I think you're going to have Randy still frustrated with Cody and the choice of, standing there with Roman. I think you're going to have Randy frustrated and mad at KO for attacking somebody he genuinely considers a friend. And then you have Randy Orton wanting a 16th title. So it kind of all lends itself to get there. I mentioned this one other time. Sometimes, things just happen. Like, it doesn't need to be some grand story behind it. Sometimes, just because movies, because video games, because wrestling. And I think, unfortunately, the world title is about to have a phase of because wrestling.
I agree with a lot of what you said. The one thing I hate that you said was this is going to turn into a triple threat with
you see Randy, it now too, huh?
Kevin Owens. Oh, the reason I don't like it is we just had that. It was just Logan Paul was the Cody Rhodes in that situation. Like they literally just had a triple threat match for the US title. Ago, yeah, like I don't need that again. I don't need that. What I do need in my life, I actually really want to see RKO do a title run, like a tag team title run. Like those guys are fun together. Like that is something I can get behind because the tag team division's in shambles right now, and they don't know what to do with them. And they don't know, they don't have a single good competitor for Cody. They're just waiting for Roman Rock. We got to wait a year for them to give us a good competitor for Cody. I mean, this is they had opportunities. I really liked AJ. If they would have had AJ actually beat Cody the second time, because then it made sense to have them fight again. Now I'm going to say the exact same shit here with Kevin Owens being like, hopefully Kevin Owens beats him. He's not going to because he's Kevin Owens these days. But at the same time, then why do it? Give me somebody. Build a monster. Build a monster that comes out of nowhere and throw him at Cody. At least it's something different. I just don't know what you're supposed to be excited about here.
If it weren't for the fact that he's been handed the shizzle stick for the last year and a half or so, Karrion Kross coming after Cody, bigger, stronger, just beats the tar out of him every chance he gets until he gets his match.
And give him a pin over him. A tag team match where Karrion actually pins the champion.
And again, you can do all right, Cody wins, but he doesn't win. Maybe he wins by DQ at some point. And you can keep that feud going a little while. I said this the whole time. Cody coming out of Roman, it should have been him beating monsters. Yeah. It should have been him slaying dragons. That's what he needed to do to be Captain America.
You could have brought Braun Strowman out as a heel and had them go toe to toe. Yeah. You could have done a lot of things here where it really made sense to build him up as a monster. And I get it. It was going to be really hard to book him against anyone that was believable because we just spent years and years as Roman as the unstoppable force, and you put Cody over. So like, I get that you're asking for next to the impossible, but there's not been a single believable challenger yet. And even when they had the opportunity to like then be like, oh wow, maybe this is believable, they fumbled every single time. So I just don't know what to do next, and I'm not looking forward for Kevin Owens too.
Cody heel turn.
It's too early for that.
Cody heel turn.
It's too early.
It might
he
be,
joins
but
he's on the bloodline side.
It's the only thing that's going to make his title run at this point interesting, because it's not.
Oh crap, Cody! If they're going to do that, that's going to happen at Mania.
Cody heel turn.
Watch this whole thing be a setup for The Rock to anoint Cody over his own cousin.
You could, I'm down for something different. It's just,
but it's still like, 6 months away.
Yeah.
Somehow get Joe Hendry in a damn program with Cody. I'd be all in for it because I believe.
I believe.
Say his name. And with that, folks, thank you. This has been Bad Blood. I swear we liked it more than we gave it credit here for. This was, like I said, I think this was the best 5-card PLE. I think that was carried by what I think is one of the best, if not the best, match of the year. I know I'm going a little hard on this one. In retrospect, I'll go back because there's some other really good candidates for match of the year, in my opinion. But this one, I know I said it 2 or 3 times already before, but like this is a masterclass in Hell in a Cell, and I think it was done perfectly. So I was very happy with that match, and honestly, I could have turned it off right then. But didn't. We went through the rest of this. I'm excited to have The Rock back. Hopefully we get some cool stuff with that. I want to see what they're going to do with Jimmy rather than just have him smiling in the background. Really see what's going to happen next. I'm really excited for that. Thank you, fellas. Thank you for being here for me. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you. Like and subscribe all down below.
Down here.
Have a wonderful day, afternoon, night, whatever time you happen to be listening, folks. We appreciate you, and we look forward to speaking to you again.
And last thing, guys, I know I don't always mention our nonprofit stuff, but all of the information for that will be in the description below. There's going to be stuff for both Hurricane Helene relief and possibly Hurricane Milty relief as well, but it'll be through the American Red Cross. So all those links will be in our description down here. So as always, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for being with us. We love you, Legion. And as always, tuck your chin when you bump. Have a good night, guys.